Okay, now that we've built our support base for the faucet and the hose, we're ready to assemble the entire device. Now, I did a little bit of pre-assembly I want to point out here. You'll notice that I had to disconnect the washer hoses from the supply lines. I mounted on there the Y connectors that we had pointed out before, and then I reconnected not only the washer hoses, but these are also the hoses and supply lines that will now be used for our sprayer. And one of the nice things about these Garden Y connectors is they have their own shut-off valves, so at any time that we want, we can open and close these valves to either permit or restrict flow of water to the sprayer or the washing machine. It's kind of helpful to have that, especially if you're going to be away for a while, either going on vacation or leaving the facility, and you don't want the water pressure on the hoses and the potential of a ruptured hose. You can always turn it off there if you didn't want to turn it off by the supply lines. Okay, now to begin the assembly, we're going to go in a little bit of reverse order. We're going to start with the sprayer itself. Now remember, I've also already pre-wrapped the connections in plumber's tape just to save some time. And we're going to go ahead and follow the instructions to mount the sprayer to the sprayer hose. And again, since these are all parts that we bought at the local hardware store, a lot of this stuff is made to fit each other interchangeably already, and I had pre-measured it actually at the store, so I know the parts will fit. But the nice thing is, the way supplies are made today, things tend to work interchangeably pretty readily these days. So we have to take the mounting base. Okay, we're going to have to run the hose up through there. Okay, be careful. There is a washer that's inside there. Going to make sure we don't lose that washer. After the mounting base for the hose, we're going to insert this into the initial cap for the sprayer itself, and it'll snap into place a little bit. There we go. And there's a clip that clips it right on. Okay, so that it doesn't pop back out. Put that on a little better here. It just goes on with some pressure. Go, nice and tight. There's the washer, and then this will connect to the sprayer. Okay, that's ready. And then they're pretty good. Make sure to put the hose through the top of the base that we have made. Now these hoses are still fairly wound and sitting in the packaging, but they will over time loosen up. I don't want to just rapidly drag it through there, just so as not to damage the hose in any way. Okay. And we have the underside screw cap that'll tighten the whole mount to our aluminum base. hand tightening is good enough for this. We don't need to tighten it with a wrench. Okay, that's in there. Okay, there's our sprayer. Now we're going to go through a similar process as well with the faucet and the supply lines and that portion there. So very simply, put the hoses through. Assemblage through there. And one thing I need to bear in mind is I want to make sure that the handle is visible to the user at the front of the washing machine. So I have that in place so. Take the mounting clip. And you can see, I'll turn it upside down, but you can see, put the mounting clip on there. And I'll tighten this by hand. Probably don't need to tighten it with a wrench. Okay, and the same thing. There you go. You can see we have our hoses in place, and it's going to eventually sit in the side of the washer like so. Okay, we just want to finish making our connections. Alright, so next connection we're going to make, which continues here, is going to be, and I'm going to do this while it's still easy, I'm going to take the faucet or toilet connector that we have, which is a 1/2 to 3/8 connector, and I'm going to attach it to the faucet assembly, the discharge line. This can also be done before you mount the faucet to the base. Either way is okay. Okay, and again, just hand tighten it. Alright, now, to connect that discharge line from the faucet to the hose line, we have our 3/8 connector. I'll make sure I connect this properly here. There we go. I'm hand tightening all these. I may have to come back at the testing phase, and if there's any drips or leaks, I may have to give it a 1/4 or a 1/2 turn tightened by wrench. I don't like to over tighten plumbing, but at the same time you don't want any drips or leaks. Okay, so there's the connection. Okay, that's connected there. And I can mount this on the side of the washing machine there. Just a little bit. There we go. Now we're ready to connect the supply lines. So, unfortunately, these are not labeled as to which one is hot and which one is cold. But looking at the way the assembly is, I'm going to try and figure that this one closest to me is the hot and this other one is the cold. But I can always simply rearrange them if I get that part of it wrong. So, presuming that this is the hot, I'm going to take the connectors that we have remaining, connect these to the supply hoses. Now these are connections that I might actually need some additional tightening with a wrench. So I'm going to take a wrench and apply a few turns to tighten it. Both hoses. On both supply lines. All right, and that should be all we need. I'm going to open the valves. First, open the valves to the individual hoses before I turn on the supply lines. And I'm going to turn on the supply lines, check for leaks. That's a good sign. Don't seem to see any drips on the hot water. Second good sign, don't seem to see any drips on the cold water. And for the final test, I'll have to secure this a little better. I could wrap some duct tape on there and tighten it up and it'll get a pressure hold, but turn the faucet on and pre-wash the clothes. Testing to see if I got the temperatures correct, and I did. I turn it to warm, the water becomes warmer. On the assembly, turn it to cold, the water becomes cooler. So I got those hoses correct, and it's working beautifully. If you need to pre-wash any clothes, items, things that you want to put in the laundry, spray it right in there. Works beautifully. And there you have it. The device only costs a total of about $50 in parts, and it's much more economical than having to spend several $100s buying a new washing machine that has a device built in. Hope this is helpful. Thank you very much.